Hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient. I was late to now. Don't Gina was perfectly on time. I was late. I was doing a couple things on the computer before I got in and just got carried away. So thank you, everybody, for being here. This should be very interesting. This has been one that's been ruminating for a long time for me because I felt like she's wanted to come in a few times. I have a whole story about her that happened a few years ago, and I just did not. I've always loved Princess Diana, and I was just so nervous about it. You can imagine, right? I take the responsibility of medium very, very seriously. And I did not do mediumship for a very long time because of how seriously that I take it and how much responsibility that I feel when I do this process. But I also do it with a lot of humility, and hopefully, I'm able through those things and being able to stand. Because it's the fact that they are connecting with us is through their love for us. And so I'm kind of standing in that breach and kind of that love that they have for us. And so it's the only way I can do this. It's the only way they can connect is through love. And so it's true when you do it for two people, it's because they love each other. And that's what you're standing in when you read. And so it's a very sacred process, and it's a very beautiful process. And whenever somebody comes in from the other side, it's always to help in some way. They love us, and I just wanted to begin by telling you that, Cassie shared with me a lot like Robin Williams that, Princess Diana would, although she was Princess Diana, she would show up just to visit with people, just to be there. Cassie read me a story about a man who was, I think it was like the late 80s and maybe the early 90s. And he was there with his partner who had HIV. And, or maybe he was just a good friend. I can't remember if it was his partner or a good friend, but he was there with a loved one that had HIV and that was dying of AIDS. And the nurse came in, and they used to have very late evenings for the people at this. I don't know if it was for everybody or just this particular hospital for people that had AIDS, because it was such a isolating disease, and especially during this time. And so whenever they had people that wanted to visit, they were always very accommodating, even late in the evening. And late at night, it was probably about like 11, I think, or like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, the nurse pops her head in, and the friend is there with either his friend or his partner, who was in the hospital bed. And she said, would you mind having one more visitor tonight? And he said, yeah, of course. And we're always up for visitors. And they looked at each other and thought, who could be coming at like 10:30 at night, 11 at night? And it was Princess Diana. And she came in, and they said she was so kind. She was so sweet. She kept in touch. She came more than once. And it really was her gift in a way of being able to connect with people that way. But also, her own need for connection and connection. So I don't doubt that if we asked her to come in and we're wanting to connect with her, that she wouldn't come in and be here for us. So anyway, that's my little intro for Princess Diana. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths and bring her in, then we'll do the first question. But thank you, everyone, for being here. And I cross fingers that I get everything right. I'm always worried I'm going to get something wrong. So be kind, be gentle with my attempts. And hi, Kevin. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. Send me good vibes. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Gina. All right. Okay, she just said, hi, everyone. And she's sitting on a sofa. She is very casual. She's in like jeans and a t-shirt, and she even has bare feet. She she's laughing at that. She and she's giving me chills too. She her hair is a little bit longer, but it's kind of like it's behind her ears like that. Um, it's still, you know, she still looks like her. She definitely looks like her, and she looks about the age that she around the age that she passed. She doesn't look like a young woman to me. She looks about that age. So just so you can get a picture in your mind, and she also comparing with other people that I read, her energy is light. It's very light, but it's funny because it's joyful. It's very like giggly, funny. There's a lot of joy in it, but she's very it's a very light energy. And we talked about vibration as being heavy and light, and hers is very light. I think of butterflies because she just has this very kind of a light, flowy energy. Okay, so I'm ready for the first question. Let me see what it is. Let me put on my glasses. All right. All right. So looking forward to this. Me too. Absolutely adore Diana. Hope she will clear up the mystery of the car accident if she can. Heartbreaking. Hopefully she is present with Harry. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask about that. You talk about the car accident. She's like, you're going right in there, aren't you? Getting right to it. So she says she had an uneasy feeling all evening. That evening, she had kind of an uneasy feeling all evening and really wanted to get back to where she was staying, where she was going to be staying. And she said, I didn't feel, once I was in the car, I was okay. But up until then, I had an uneasy feeling kind of all night, just a little bit of nerves, a little bit nervous. I wasn't sure if it was due to just, she's saying up until the last minute, she wasn't quite sure where she was going to stay, but she decided to go to, I feel like it's like a flat or an apartment or something. I don't know if it's hers or someone else's, but she's saying the flat. So I feel like once she knew where she was going to stay, she felt better. But once she got in the car, she felt okay. She's saying the driver had too much to drink and was also not a she's saying that tunnel is tricky. It's tricky anyway. It's hard to navigate, and going at such a high rate of speed and such a and not being in his full awareness. The car was she's showing it like hitting and then like fishtailing. And she's saying that she has a better understanding now. At the time, she had no idea what had happened. But she's showing the car kind of like fishtailing and then hitting, I don't know what this is, like a post or something. And it almost feels like it flips. But she's saying that she, okay. She's saying and so this is entertainment purposes only, right? Because all of this stuff is just what she's telling us, and I don't know what's in like regular reports here and stuff. She's saying that her driver, it was his time to go, She is saying that oh, thank you. She's saying that it was Dodi's time to go as well, but for her, it was an exit point and she took it. And she's like, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because she said, I was shown the reaction of the world and the world coming together because of love. And she said, I couldn't resist the idea that it would be a moment for people to come together. Yeah, she's giving me chills. It would be a moment for people to come together. And she's saying I was very aware of what would happen to my family, how people would take it, what may or may not happen. I was fully briefed on what would be. And she said, I just felt like it was the right time. And okay. She's saying, I was at that point in time too, I was a little aimless. I was starting to get my footing, and I felt better. I felt better about things, but I was a little aimless, and I just felt like it would be the right time. I was not going to have a very long life anyway. And this was an exit point that was near the date, not too far away from the time she would have passed. So she's saying she would not have had a very long life anyway. Yeah. And she's saying, I hope that clears it up. That clears it up. So yeah. Okay. So fun to hear her voice, I wish I could do an accent. Oh, I'd do an accent. I'd have to do a Cockney accent or something. What does she say about the problems with William and Harry? Does she like Meghan and Catherine? Okay. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Okay. She says, my little men. And she said, I would say my boys, but they are my little men. Okay, who do you want to start? She's saying she's very, very proud of both of her boys. She's saying this is the circumstances they are in, and the circumstances that they were born into are very, sorry, I don't know how long I've been. Hopefully you can still hear me as I'm, sorry about that, you guys. I kind of look off to the side, and I don't realize what's happening here. So I'll try to look more here if I can, but I might tend to look this way. Sorry about that. So she's saying that, hopefully you heard what I said, but she's saying that that the circumstances the boys were born into are very complicated and very difficult. Oh, good, County B, thank you. And although they're both strong in their own way, and she's saying it even dealt with things better than I did, being kind of in this circumstance. And she's saying it may be because they were there from the beginning. They didn't have any other sort of experiences, so they were there from the beginning. She's saying that she said, I'll start with William, and she's saying that he really is, his temperament and his logical mind is very suited to the royal family. And we can kind of see that, right? That makes sense to me. That he assimilated well. And she said he does have his own frustrations at times, but he's very suited to his post, she said. And And she said that Catherine is a good counterpart for him, but they are both very, she said they're both very caring people and very good parents, she said, but both very logically minded. And she's saying, I think that what is necessary for the family, to be in that family. And then she's moving to Harry, and she's saying, Harry is a lot like me. He has a very high, he has a very high emotional intelligence. And that was what I was meant to bring to the table in that family, because that is something that is lacking. And that she was meant to bring that in, and that he carries that. She's disappointed that she understands, but she feels like he would be such a good balance within the family when it comes to emotional intelligence and, like book smarts, that it would be such a good balance for the family if he was there, if he was around, and he was his other family members were able to be around him. He'd be a good example. He's much, much better at expressing emotion. And that is very, very important and very, very good for people to see. You can't have the best human experience possible without being able to understand and express and process emotion. It's very important. And she's saying it's something that the royal family needs. And to be honest, she's saying England needs that. They need to be able to deal with emotion even today better. And she's like, and she keeps saying, like, I brought that to the table. I brought that to the table. So she hopes that at some point they move back because of that. She's saying, unfortunately, she does like Meghan Markle. And she said she has a lot of wonderful qualities, but she's saying, unfortunately, they're both quite emotional. And we're two people that are, so you've got the two kind of more logically minded, unemotional pair, and then you've got two that are with a higher emotional intelligence and very emotional, and express their emotions and things like that. She's also saying that I don't know if one or both of them are kind of prone to things like anxiety and depression. But she's saying that these two are kind of more like similar to the rest of the family, not quite the same, but similar. And they need this other faction. It would be so good for balance. But she hopes for a day that they move back because of that. It would be very good for everybody. But she understands why they're not there. But she has hope. She has hope. And she's saying that there is the ability on the other side to see a much fuller picture. So you see people, you understand their childhoods, you understand, I'm saying this, but what I think she's saying is, like, you get kind of you see their childhood and you see how they grew up. And so you understand you get a fuller picture. And so you understand the way people are a little bit more, and you have more compassion. And that way, when you don't have all the information, it's hard because you just know their public face. So she's bringing that up. But she has hope that they'll move back, and it would be very good for everybody if they did. Did she regret her divorce from Charles? It was the hardest thing I ever did. It truly broke my heart. But it hadn't worked for so long. Really, by the time the divorce came, there really wasn't any hope. It was still really hard. She said, when I love you, you can't get rid of me. I'm just going to keep loving you. And you don't have to love me for me to love you. So she said, I continued to love him. And we had such history together. He did not understand me. And she said, I can't blame him because I wasn't always understandable. She's like, my behavior could, that's what she's like, so it wasn't all on him, but he didn't understand me. And I don't think I understood him really either. I pinned a lot of hope on him and maybe expected too much. I had a storybook in my head, I had a script in my head. And when he didn't follow that script, it was such a disappointment. So he would disappoint me over and over again, but it was me expecting too much. He wasn't able to be who she wanted him to be. Okay. She's saying regret, and she did not regret it. She did not regret the divorce. She just said it was very, very hard. Yeah. Does Diana know if Simon Charles Durante is the son of Charles and Camilla? She's saying no. No, I'm getting a no. I don't know anything about that, but she's saying no. DB. Kim, can you ask Diana? I know she knows how much we appreciated her. Did she feel that the royal family appreciated her later? Well, she's saying here, yes. Like once they're here, once they're on the other side, yes. And she's saying here some. Yeah, she's saying they have it's such a different world. They have such a different way of looking at things. So she's almost like, I have to go person by person, but she's saying that some there is, okay, there is appreciation, but still there are some that knew her that are still living that just didn't get her, didn't understand. She's saying mainly it's about, it's like, why not, like their thought is like, why not just fall in line? Why don't you just fall in line? Why don't you just do what we all do and get in that, why don't you just do what we all do? And so that's what I feel like she's saying, is that there's some people that just didn't understand why she just didn't do what she was supposed to do, so and she's saying it's kind of it's kind of a harshness, but she's saying that's what they need to work on, is their being softer hearted, having softer hearts. That's what it is. Would you change anything in the life you lived as Diana? Okay, so she's saying yes and no, because she's saying that I knew very early my life was going to be different, but I didn't know how. So I can see now I had a mission, and she's saying a purpose is different than a mission. A purpose has more choice involved, has more leeway, has more wiggle room. A mission is different. A mission is something that is going to happen for a definite reason, and to shake things up, make things different. She says again, I was bringing something different to the table, something that was needed. So she's saying I might have waited a little longer to get married. I felt a little rushed, and being so young, I was just flattered. So I might have waited a little longer. I think I could have gotten my bearings a little more if I was a little bit older. But she's saying she appreciated everything once she was on the other side. She could really see the beauty and the perfectness of everything, the good and the bad, and how everything kind of fit together, and it was all beautiful. And so she's saying, so not really. I had my boys, and she's saying, so not really. And she's saying I had a very blessed existence in so many ways. And I knew that. But I might have waited just a little bit longer to get married, because it was really, really hard. It was confusing. She's saying it was confusing. Will Katie's daughter be queen? Charlotte. Will Kate's daughter be queen? Charlotte. Okay. Is she saying that is one possibility? That Charlotte has a big role to fulfill. But she does not have to be in that particular role to fulfill what she is meant to do. And she's saying, you'll understand. You'll understand. So we'll understand as Charlotte gets older and starts whatever. But she's saying she does have a role to fulfill, and that is one possibility. Okay, but she doesn't have to be in that role to fulfill what she's here to do. Hope that's clear. A question for Diana. Will the monarchy end, and was her life in any way a part of that? She's saying it will be phased out. It might exist as it might exist as almost like a living museum in a way, is how she's explaining it. That has a specific place with maybe charity or things like that, or organizations or something. I'm not exactly sure what she's saying, but they're but with each, she's saying like with each decade, you can see kind of chips falling. It's not, she's saying it's not a necessary institution anymore, but they're she's like, whether they know it or not, they're being phased out. So, but that's the plan, is to be like phased out. It's just so funny the way she put that. She's like, whether they know it or not, they're being phased out. But you think about that, it's like, it's true. They kind of like had all the power, then a little bit less, a little bit less. Now they really are just figureheads, and now they're so she's right. Yeah. So yeah. It has been said that you had a strong desire to be a dancer. Did this sometimes conflict with your main life goals as Diana? Oh, interesting. Okay, so she's saying that one of the things she wanted to make sure of was that she had a very healthy athletic body, that she could express herself. So she would be able to, and she's saying swim and dance and run. And she said this was something that she put in place. It was part of her life. You know, what when she put her life in place, this was something she wanted. But she said, I loved music and I love to dance. And she said, I still dance. I love music. And she said, I was always, as a little girl, twirling around. It was my happy place, my outlet. But I never thought I wanted to, I didn't want to make it another thing I had to do. So she wanted it to kind of be hers, at her. She wanted it to be on her terms, and so that's how it was. Yeah. So I guess the answer is no. Like not really ambitions to be professional, but to always have it as something to be an outlet and enjoy. How did you feel dancing with John Travolta? She said, she's saying it was one of the highlights of her sort of public life. It was a dream come true. And she said, don't we all want to be like Olivia Newton-John? You know, don't we all want to be that? And she's saying, I was actually so, she's like, I blushed all night. And she said, he was so handsome. I did not realize like how handsome he was, tall and handsome. And she said, those eyes. But she said, I blushed all night. And it was just the highlight of one of the highlights of my public life. She's saying a night I actually enjoyed. She's really funny. Yeah, that's funny. Princess Diana, you were so universally loved, but was there anyone within the royal family with whom you had a real friendship? So she's saying she had a couple of like royal secretaries or something she was very fond of. She was quite she really liked the Queen. She could be, and she's like, she could be, you know, like she's going, she could be, but she was always very nice to her. She was always very kind to her. She liked Philip. And she's saying there was actually nobody besides like Charles who could be mean, you know, that they really were, they just didn't have a lot of demonstration of love and affection. And that's really what she wanted. She's saying to, and she's talking to all of you because she's saying this may be for you, but she's saying once she got home, when she got back to the spirit realm, she realized that a lot of her longing for unconditional love and that kind of thing, a lot of her longing came from her homesickness of being home. When she was back, she realized, oh, this is what I was looking for. And it was here, you know, it was almost like, oh yes. But she's saying like, if you feel that way, like I can't quite get, I can't quite get what I'm looking for when it comes to that kind of love. She said, it's here. That's why you might feel that way. So just, yeah, but she realized that when she got there. Why don't we do just a couple more, Gina, and then I'll let her go. We went pretty far though. I think, yeah, I think we have very kind of compatible, something, yeah. Do William and Harry recognize messages from their mom? Um, so she's like, yes, they get my messages, but they don't always attribute it to me. That's what mom would say. That's what she would think. They're hearing me, but they don't know they're hearing me. Um, uh, Harry is better. He can feel me, and he won't say it. It's not like it's something, but he does feel me. I visited both of them in their dreams. They both had dreams about me. What is the experience of a person who has crossed and they are estranged from a loved one? How do they process that? Do they try to heal the relationship from heaven? The experience of a person who has crossed, estranged from a loved one. How do they process? Okay. She said most of it's gone and forgotten. Most of it is, sorry about that, guys. Most of it's gone and forgotten. Once you're there, the more things come back, the more your memories come back about why you were there, your plans, what you did, how long you plan a life. So once you're home, it's everything is slowly put back into place. So I feel like that what she's saying is like slowly your memories return and you get assimilated. Of course, she just said, "Can I tell you something?" Yes. She said that she and the queen were pretty well estranged. It was very cool between them when she passed. They didn't love who I was dating. She's saying that, but when the queen got to the other side, she said, I was one of the people who greeted her. Everybody was like hugging her. And she said, you can imagine the crowd. You can imagine the people, the ancestors, right? Even just the ancestors. And she said, I came up and curtsied, and we both laughed because it was just so silly. It was so funny that it was like she just cracked up, and they both just laughed and hugged each other. And she said it was treating her like the queen there was just hilarious to both of us. So she said that slowly who you really are comes back to you, what you wanted to accomplish, what you did, who your family is, who your spirit family is, your ancestors, we all love each other so much. All of us, you, me, all of us. She just said, but she said that is a good, that story is an example of, we play characters and we get very, very serious and attached to our characters. Yes, they do have big, our spirits definitely shine through, our personalities that is all there, but there's so much other stuff that kind of is constantly there to kind of cover things up. So it can get very confusing and exhausting and difficult to carry around this character. But amends are made, and there are systems in place for people to work through things, work through problems that maybe were left unresolved, and so there are processes to help people heal from difficult lifetimes, to go through healing, to go through like counseling, basically. And this can go back, she's saying this can go back lifetimes. And sometimes things don't get resolved and you come together and talk about it, and talk about maybe what's next time, or maybe we want to drop this. And nothing is ever nothing is ever so big it can't be resolved. Everything. She said everybody that has been on the earth has gone home and everything is fine. It's always okay. Everything's always okay. And I think she's talking about what she's saying, because she's showing me people like, oh, Adolf Hitler, and even these people have gone home, and it's all okay. We're still okay. We work through everything. And she's saying some people don't ever come back because maybe they went off track, or they had a very impactful lifetime. They don't feel like they need to come back. Yeah. She said, I want to say something. Okay. I'm like, yeah, you can. She says, I know that people can be very worried or afraid of what awaits them, but it's just love. That's all. That's all that it is. It's just love. I love you all. She just said, I love you all. And she said, we'll meet again. So, okay. Thank you, everybody. I just got chills again. She's really big on chills. She gave me chills again. Thank you, everybody. I'll have to go back and watch it, because like I said, a lot of times I don't remember what I say. I'm just kind of in that zone, whatever that zone is. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Kevin. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Patty and Blue and Kevin and Donna and oh, good. I'm so glad. Thank you guys. Thanks you guys so much. Have a good night. Hi, Prairie and Sandra, all the gangs here. Thank you, Gina. Once again, I really appreciate you. Char on the Harp, I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you so much, Michelle Maybell. Nice to see everybody. Glad we're together on Thursday nights again. It's super fun. Sorry, for some reason, the show, every once in a while it will happen, like in my club and stuff, but it's not like the show for some reason. It just sticks all the time. Oh, Carol Gallagher, I just sent you an email for your son. All right, everybody, take care. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Love you guys. Thank you, Gina.